All right, fam. Good afternoon. It is Q&A time. Hope y'all are doing well. Had good trades out of the PMZ. I had good trades out of a bull channel on a pullback. Yeah, so I hope you all were taking advantage of those trades as well. Q&A time means that we are here to answer any questions you have about trendy methodology, the strategies that we trade, the indicators, how we draw zones, anything, any question that you might have. Also, you can request charts as well. If you have a chart that you want to know the levels on, you can request that chart as well. I'm always available to answer the questions, of course, but on Thursdays at this time, this is the designated time that John and I are here in the room to answer your questions. Now, I don't know if John is going to be here today or not. I have no idea. But if he shows up, awesome. If he doesn't, that's all right. We will get through Q&A together, you and me. All right? So, without further ado, this is the time that I need you to get some questions in the chat. I need you to make Q&A worth my time. Speaking of, any of you follow me on YouTube and make note of the levels and the buy zones on some of these stocks? If you did and you had a set and forget trade or a entry here on Lunar, LUNR, Intuitive Mechanics or whatever machines, I have no idea. Whatever. This LUNR stock. Did anyone catch this dip that I gave the buy zone on Saturday? Nice, Kapil. Very nice. You're at target. FYI, next target 47.12, then 52.44. But great job catching that dip. If you happen to be in the SPX room with me, this alert actually went off um, uh, while I was on the mic in the SPX room. And I had an order set here, but yeah. So nice move from demand. And this happened so very fast. Not enough time for me to even post an alert in the alert. It was down here and then recovered about 10% of what it was down very quickly. Very, very, very quickly. That's why it's important to know the levels ahead of time, right? I guess Kapil and I are the only ones that were interested in that name because y'all are quiet. What's going on? Are you that tuned in to trading this current price action, or what in the world's going on? Watching the pullback on the beach? Hey, well, we're up and away. Did anybody notice NASDAQ? I don't know on John's charts if he has, no, it doesn't look like he's charting out sell zones on NASDAQ, but NASDAQ hit a sell zone, my friends. That's the pullback that you're seeing right now. I'll show you that zone right here. That's the pullback that you're seeing right now. NASDAQ trading hit upper daily edge and it's pulling back. This is a 15-minute chart. Look for buyers to show up at this 15-minute inside and up. Here's your 15-minute cloud and here's your bull channel. So if you're trading NASDAQ, there's some levels to the downside if you're trading from that sell zone right there. All right, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to answer the questions that are put in the chat. If I finish early, get through the questions, then I'll just hop off of the mic and let y'all have at trading for the rest of the day. Okay, so first up is Doc One wants to look at Costco for 6 months out, looking to trade it to the upside. Not a bad idea. Like Costco, especially if it's pulled back to a demand zone, right? I really like Costco at demand, and I assume based on the fact that you asked and you're looking for longer time frame, that you're probably thinking on that, or you're probably looking at it because we are close to a demand zone. Now, notice this is a weekly chart. This area was choppy and for quite some time. I mean, here's February 9th all the way to May 11th. Total chop in here. Inside and up, then we fall back down. Lots of bottoming wicks, lots of buyers stepping in. Just the bottom of this chop area. I'm going to call it right here. The reason why I'm doing right here, I have an inside and up candlestick structure there, but notice that my bottoming wicks, just virtually all of them hit this level right here. Okay. So on Costco, this is where I would look to buy a dip. The bottom of this zone is also that yearly edge mid. Okay, so yearly edge mid. If you run fibs from where this price action took off here up to the most recent high, that buy zone lines up with the 50. Here's the 61A if you wanted to scale into the trade and give yourself some extra time and not stop out unless we get a candle close below the golden Fibonacci level. Then I would use 950 as my stop. That's going to add about $10 of risk on that trade. As far as targets to the upside goes, Doc, inside and down, we're creating right now here on this weekly, then the upper yearly edge and the June upper monthly edge by right up here. This, I believe it's an all-time high, but I don't want to quote that and be wrong, so let me check. All right, it is. So that is how I personally would trade Costco for a 6-month trade. If you don't want to trim at 1026 here, you can skip that trim and just target the upper yearly edge and then this as a zone, upper monthly edge by all-time high. And if you get above there, you still have a position on. I would simply trail stop that thing. Okay. All right, that is Costco and how I would trade it for a 6-month trade. Notice here, Doc, the lower monthly edge for June, we could indeed bounce. We've pulled back there once already, but if you don't pull all the way back into here, because this has been tested so many times, I wouldn't be surprised. So if you're not already in it, and you want to be in it and not miss out on the chance, this lower monthly edge that is going to be in play in 4 days would be an area you could look to start the position. Okay. Yep, Kapil, I shared that screenshot with the Freeport levels. Speaking of those that are in CIFR, with me. I think you probably know how I stay in a trade once we have hit to my target, but I run Fibonacci right here, and then I want to be in the trade as long as the bull channel holds as support. So even though CIFR is down 1.5% today, it's nowhere near a stop for me. I still have a lot of time left on this trade, and I have a daily squeeze that has only fired 3 days. So I'm still in that runner position there on CIFR. All right, let's look and see what we got going on now on the questions. TLC says, please discuss going to a lower time frame at time entry into a trade. You explained it well a couple of weeks ago, but the recorder in the room wasn't turned on. All right, TLC. So let's say that I am in a trade. Speaking of, I think you asked this question on the YouTube session that I did, a special session for members only. Is that correct, TLC? And I said we could cover it in the Q&A. I believe it was you, might have been someone different, but the same question. Oh, okay. You copied it from that person. Got it. All right. So, very simply, let's look at an actual example that I have on some bullish setups that I was watching. Well, Intel is down. Let's look at Rocket Lab. Maybe we can, it's down the most. Boy, but it's not down much. All right, let's look at Rocket Lab and let's find us a buy zone and then talk about the opportunity, so to speak, to look for confirmation. This is a 4-hour chart, and I'm really stretching this buy zone here so that we can look and hunt for that confirmation. I normally would not draw the zone like this, okay? But we're going to hunt for confirmation. Since this is a 4-hour chart, I'm going to be looking at 30-minute or 1-hour candles, okay? So on a 4-hour chart, I go down. Once price hits my zone, which it did, this was overnight, I believe. I could be wrong. Maybe it hit it yesterday, right? But we'll take a look. Anyway, price hits this zone, okay? I go down to a smaller time frame because on my different charts, notice that I have an alert set. When the alert goes off, if I'm waiting for confirmation and I don't already have an order there, then my alert goes off. I go to the chart. I look, I said, okay, this is a buy zone from a 4-hour. So let me go down to a 30-minute candlestick structure or an hour candlestick structure. If it's early enough in the morning, you can use an hour candlestick structure. If it is later in the afternoon, you can go to a 30-minute. This one here happened yesterday. Price would have pulled back into this 4-hour buy zone. You get a low, you get a higher low, and the break above this body is my trigger to the upside. All right. That's from a 4-hour zone. Let's say that I was looking to buy a dip on a daily zone. We'll go to Exxon because Exxon, I know, it flushed through a zone. And let's see if it is coming down to a lower area of daily demand. It is right here. And now it's tested and it actually has a low all the way back there. But just using the daily zone on ExxonMobil as an example, okay? Price came down yesterday into that daily zone. So if it's a daily buy zone, then I'm looking at 4-hour or 2-hour charts to wait for my confirmation. So ding, the alert goes off. I know to go to a 2-hour or a 4-hour and wait for a low, a higher low, and a break above the body to give me that entry. All right. It's the same exact process if I'm waiting for confirmation that I use to trade SPX, scalp trade SPX, or every day. All right. So here was my buy zone on a 5-minute chart for SPX today. Okay. Price came down into my buy zone. I go to a 3-minute chart. I look for a low, a higher low, and a break above the body, and that's my entry. Down here, this was also a confirmed entry on well, it was an aggressive entry plus a confirmation entry, but this was a different zone. These Fibonacci's were different, but it's the same concept, just a different time look back. All right? All right. Let me see. There's TLC. Got that one. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yep. Yep. Uh, got it. Thoughts on Amazon out to June expiration? Is Amazon still red today? There's some names that were red today, and I was a little surprised. Yeah, Amazon's still red. Wow. Okay, let's look. Amazon out to. Hey, Roberto, good to see you, my friend. Lester, Amazon out to June. Let's take a look from the bigger picture perspective, though. Oh, this is my long term. So ignore that, but let's look at my weekly chart. On the weekly chart, notice that Amazon was a great buy at this demand zone, number one, back at the 618 here of this. Well, that wouldn't have been the 618 because this is a high, but it was a demand zone. It was the yearly edge mid. It was a great buy back here. You had this weekly squeeze. Look at it. That was here. You got a momentum shift, red to yellow. That's your trendy turn signal there, red to yellow. You got a trendy turn signal, momentum shift on this very nice weekly squeeze, right? Then we go up, up, and away, and we have fired now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 weeks. That squeeze has fired. You can look for somewhere around 8 to 10. So maybe another 2 to 4 weeks of upward price action. The thing is, though, if you start seeing a dark blue bar on the histogram, that means that the momentum is starting to wane, right? It's starting to turn down a little bit. And John Carter, JC, teaches us a couple of those dark blue bars is a sign to go ahead and take your profits on the trade if you're trading that squeeze. So I'll mention that, although right now on the histogram, the momentum is steadily going up. Notice on as far as inside and up candlestick structure, you have last week an inside candle and this week so far is an up candle. Notice the bottoming wicks here. That is showing that bulls, there's more buying pressure than what there is selling pressure. So that's a good sign for anyone bullish Amazon up in here. But it is just kind of taken a little bit of a rest. No big alarm bells, even if price were to pull back to the June lower monthly edge here at about 257, that would line up with the weekly EMA cloud. Let's look at the daily chart though, because that's the chart that I would trade off of a trade that I was looking to take out to June. So let me remove some of these lines that are irrelevant right now. Boy, oh boy, May the 19th, it looks like you had a perfect little pullback that was probably quick to this demand zone. This demand zone is now tested. You see the inside and up, beautiful. Beautiful buy off of 255.39. So would I go long up here? I have to ask myself. I mean, I'm $15 up from, as a supply and demand trader, what was the place for me to buy a dip. And that was right there. You see it? $15 up on a $270 stock is relatively large. So for that reason, this is not where I personally would start a position. I would need to see a pullback. Now, the daily 21, the top of the daily cloud, lines up with a double inside and up candlestick structure. That zone in itself, if you wanted to trade this zone, would look just like this. Now notice that's going to line up with next week's lower weekly edge so far. See it right there? So this is a zone that if you wanted to trade to the upside on Amazon, you could look to trade it. I would only trade this zone though if the risk to reward was worth it. And my reward is going to be based on this inside and down candlestick structure. Oh, the Dow's trying to move. Let's go, Dow, baby. All right. Anyway, inside and down. Now we have came up, we have tested it, but it tells me that my first target is $5 away from my potential entry. My risk is also about 5. So it's a 1-to-1 at first target for me. Then second target is this upper monthly edge by the all-time high, I believe. Yes. So that being said, here's a buy zone, target, and target. Okay. Would I look to short Amazon? Absolutely not. As far as the squeeze goes, you're in a daily squeeze. It's a high compression squeeze because price has just been sitting here, right? On the histogram, you're negative 270, so it's not the best looking histogram down here, but you can, on a bullish name such as Amazon in a bullish market, you can see that histogram turn back up and then boom, fires to the upside still. The overall trend is bullish. Therefore, when you're trading, when you're trading with the trend, you're looking for dips into demand and you're looking to trade any kind of squeeze to the upside because the trend is to the upside. Okay. All right, so that's what I'm seeing on Amazon right now. Let me just take a look. I want to take a peek at the 4-hour, which I obviously need to adjust. Okay. And I just want to take a look. First thing I notice on the 4-hour is higher highs. right? Or sorry, higher lows. Well, technically, yes, higher highs as well. What's happened? Well, you're coming up right here to the resistance area for sure. We went from this high, and if I measure with fibs down to this low, hello, imposter level. Whoop, whoop. Where's all my 618 to 887 traders? Hello, imposter. Hello, 618. Do you hold as support? If the answer is yes, take the trade to the upside. First target, second target, third target. Not bad. This one's really not in a squeeze. Yes, it's 3 dots, but I'm not going to call that a squeeze. Okay. So there's a little trade idea for Amazon if you want to buy a dip on Amazon using the 618 to 887 trade. You've hit first target once, but I like to wait for a retrace and then wait and see if 269.81 holds as support. If it does, you can take the trade right up into here. Now, if you want to trade an imbalance zone on Amazon and you want a lower entry off of a 4-hour chart, then that's going to be right here. Okay. So a couple of things could be going on here with Amazon right now. Lester. All right. Did we get a new high? Looks like we did. Oh, well, maybe. Not quite. All right. I saw this in yesterday's membership room. Thought it would be good here. Please discuss going. Oh, okay. We got that one, TLC. Costco, Chop City, impatiently waiting for an entry to the upside. Yeah, Doc, for me, that's all I would do on Costco at this point. But yeah. Can I talk about Oracle? I got distracted when it already started moving this morning. I took it kind of late, should have just let it go. Or was it still okay to take? I plan to be in it for a week or more. Well, let's look at Oracle, and how about you tell me where or when you got into it, because I don't know when you got into it. Did you get into it at 204.31 or did you get into it down here? That's the $1,000,000 question. Let's see, this should be on a 4-hour chart, not a 2-hour. There's your daily, there's your weekly. All right, here's the big picture on Oracle right now. 193.55. Well, you're up $9. So let's take a look. Okay. Oracle is double inside and up, straight up into what is supply. It is tested, 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 tested. Top of the zone is the top of this candle here, anywhere from 197 to 225. This is all resistance. That is, the reality is Oracle is in a supply zone on the weekly chart. Now let's look at the daily. All right, daily 200. You see this? This is resistance till proven otherwise as well. So 206.98, resistance till proven otherwise. Look over to the left. What do you see right here? Supply. Inside and down. So TLC, you caught, you got in at 195. You're up about $6 here. Okay, let me tell you what I would do if I were in the trade, because I cannot tell you what to do with your money. But if I were in this trade and I was in from 195 and I have multiple contracts, I'm trimming at supply. for sure, every time. See that? That was the start of the pullback that brought you to the lower yearly edge and the beginning of the bounce. Now, since that pullback, we have rallied very, very, very nicely. Okay. But the big picture trend is still bearish, and we're in both weekly and daily supply. I would take a trim right here, and then this is a very, very nice imbalance candle that I see right away on this daily chart. So if you want to know how I would stay in this trade, I would measure today's imbalance candle, and I want to stay in as long as the bull channel holds as support. Okay? Right there. As long as that holds as support, or even the bottom of this zone, the bottom of the bear house, the door of the bear house, as long as bulls can keep their booties in there, you can stay in this trade for the next target, which is going to be up here near 207. All right? All right. Let's see. Ravi, am I in ExxonMobil? And if so, what strikes and expiration? Options trade, I am not in ExxonMobil. Am I in ExxonMobil equity trade? Yes, and yes, and resounding yes. And it is from, golly, look, put it this way. I can remember being in ExxonMobil last year and it struggling to get above 110 over and over and over and over again. So I am in ExxonMobil from here. Okay. Equity. But I am not in an option trade on ExxonMobil. Are you interested in being long ExxonMobil, Ravi? And if you are, for what type of expiration? For how long? For a month? Okay. So obviously, this quarterly chart is not going to be of interest to you, but I do want you to note that down here near 120, if this thing were to drop 27 more bucks, that's a nice looking place where we spent an eternity, as in about 3 years chopping. It's a good place to look to buy a dip after that big imbalance candle out. Okay, so somewhere around 120. All right, let me first look at the weekly chart. Oh, look, there's a weekly demand zone there as well. But let's take a look at the actual weekly chart. And yeah, okay. Okay. You see the supply? Anyone see the supply? It's right here. Here's your initial candle, here's your inside candle, and here's your down candle. Last week, price came up and came into this supply zone. SPXL. Okay. Came into a supply zone here on the weekly chart. That was last week. And not surprisingly, we're pulling back from it. And I know, look, this thing is going to move a lot according to the news. Now, it has come back to a demand zone right here. See it? Inside, inside, and up. It's come back to this demand zone that each pullback since the all-time high and the supply was created has been a buy the dip opportunity so far. All right, right there. So on the weekly chart, this is a buy the dip opportunity down here, and this is a target up here. Now let's take a look at the daily chart. And this little booger was my potential buy zone going into this week. Luckily for me, I never got confirmation, and the zone is history now. We came back, we hit that 887, which is a 618 to 887 trade. So I don't even need to leave those fibs on the chart anymore. I'm going to clear this chart because this is the time frame chart that if I were looking to trade out a month, this is the time frame I would use. So if I look down and I look to the left, I can show you where this demand zone is that price has pulled back to once, twice. I would count that as 3 times. This is 4 times. This is 5 times, and now 6 times. All right. This zone right here has held price, and we've gotten a bounce from it 6 times. Do we get a bounce again? I don't know. The low on all of those pullbacks is right here at 141.97. If I was going to trade this as a buy zone, I would have to be okay with this $5 of risk. All right. This is a tested zone, very tested zone. On the way back up, I have some immediate resistance in the form of trendy edges, in the form of EMA clouds. So that first resistance is going to be right here at the daily cloud, the daily 21. You got the daily 50 just above it, and what is going to be about a monthly edge mid for June. That is resistance. Then you've got an upper monthly and an upper weekly edge. And if you look to the left, you have inside and a gap down candlestick structure right here. So what I'm going to do, since this is a June monthly, upper monthly edge, I'm going to make that supply zone. It's actually this tall right here. Okay. This is what I would use as my supply zone or my target to the upside for a trade out for 1 month. All right. And that's what it would look like, but I would want to trim here at the resistance. All right, below this buy zone, if price is going to come back to the next zone, it's right there. All right? All right. That is Exxon Mobil. Now, let me go up. On the Amazon daily chart, we're looking at, there's a dotted white line. What is the name of the dotted line? How do we use it for chart reading trading? So Amazon dotted white line. Is it dotted or is it dashed? Dotted or dashed? The dots. Okay. This is a 21-day moving average is all the white dots are. Pink dots are the 50 and blue dots are the 200. A lot of traders trade based on the 21, the 50, and the 200. So I have them on just my daily chart. It's the only time you'll see them. Okay. And that's because I need to relate to a lot of different traders besides just us here in the trendy room. I use the EMA cloud, right? But there's other traders that don't have that. So I need to know where that daily 50, daily 200, and the 21 is at. All right, Clee, that's what it is. All right, up next, Twins Mom says, how should I think of the 4-hour chart? I am clear about using the 2-hour chart for day trading, daily and above for swing trading, leap, equity, but still not clear about the 4-hour chart. The best use of the 4-hour chart, in my humble opinion, Twins Mom, is the AC/DC setups. All right. AC/DC bull or bear. They're built on the 4-hour chart. Outside of that, what I look at the 4-hour chart is kind of, it can be either a day trading or a swing trading chart. If I don't have a clear inside and up on a daily, I will come down to a 4-hour and use it as a zone. If I don't have a clear inside and up or an inside and down on a 2-hour chart, I will go to that 4-hour chart and look and see if I have a clear candlestick structure. So I use the 4-hour chart as a swing trade chart or a day trade chart. And it's really the biggest use for me is when I don't have clean candlestick structure on my go-to daily chart or my go-to 2-hour chart. And I hope that helps, Twins Mom. But if you want to use the 4-hour for an AC/DC setup, then that is based on, let's look at one, Ally. Finance name. Okay. So price is coming from down here as it crosses above these decel arrows. That is a trigger long. And first target is the accelerator arrows. Well, in this case, it's going to be that yearly edge, but also upper monthly. So here is a finance trade based on AC/DC. Notice though, May is almost over. June is starting in a few days. But look at that. It was in an ideal squeeze yesterday. Today it's pulled back some, but you got to stop on the trade. You would use the decel arrows. So you got to stop of about 70 cents. And first target, if you're trading it as an AC/DC trade, would be about $1.20. So not bad, you know, risk to reward, and then second target and third target. All right, but that's how I personally use the 4-hour chart. All right. Max in New York, I missed your question and I apologize. I think I missed your question. So let me answer Max's question. Talk about how to trade the cloud. Is it only the 15-minute chart? Ignore the cloud status on the 5 and the 3. I personally, if I'm trading off of the cloud, it is a 15-minute cloud. So let's look at SPX on the 15-minute. When price is above the cloud, I treat it as support. Price below the cloud, I treat it as resistance. So right here on SPX, I would be looking for this cloud to be support. I've got a confluence of an inside and up right here. So 7557 right here at this 15-minute cloud on a day that we're trending above the cloud is a buy the dip opportunity for me, especially when you've got it lined up with a 15-minute inside and up, okay, on a bullish trending day. But I mean, other people trade a 5-minute cloud. I don't know anyone that trades the 3-minute cloud, but maybe. I just find that the 15-minute 9 EMA is the most reliable, the highest probability. So that's why in my day trading or scalp trading, I am looking to trade a 15-minute cloud. Okay. And I apologize for skipping your question, Max. You probably were like, oh, okay, what was that? I got skipped. So apologies. Jasper, let me see here. FCX, yeah, you missed my exit. I have to follow my rules. So I did exit below my stop, but if you missed it, You're coming up to second target, Jasper. So if you haven't already trimmed, I would trim. Okay. We're creating an inside and up here today. That obviously is a good sign, but we're coming into second target. Why, Melissa, is that a target? It's just above your 618. I would definitely trim if you haven't already. But the 65.81, if you just use this recent price action, it's going to be the 887. Yeah. 887 going 618 to 887, and that's going to be that next target. But 64.82, where price is at right now, is going to be your 618, and then T2 is the 887 trade. Okay. All righty. Oracle, I did. Amazon, I did. I did the 4-hour chart. How's NVIDIA looking as far as a bottom from the sell-off? Let's go look. I'm not sure. I have NVIDIA long-term and have had it for quite some time. But I would be interested in knowing how NVIDIA is looking as far as has it found a bottom. It's right off the bat, I'm going to tell you it's in a really critical area. Really critical area. Okay. And that's at 618 area. We're below the daily 21. We're inside the daily cloud. We are below the lower weekly edge. This is the rally. This is the 618. Yesterday we closed below it, but today we are rallying back up above it at some point. But you notice how it's struggling here at 213.10? That 618, if we close below there today, then I would have to say I can't be biased, right? So I would have to say NVIDIA could be coming back to 207.5, 202.90, and then finally the buy zone down here at about 200. And that's the buy zone for me on NVIDIA. So it's at a critical spot here. There is not a demand zone telling me to go long here. So it's at a critical, very, 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 very critical spot. All right, Flynn. I wouldn't necessarily be one to want to go long or short where it's at. I would need a little bit more information, especially if today closes as an inside day. Then tomorrow could give you some answers. If it prints an inside and up or an inside and down, then I would have the demand zone here. If it prints an inside day and then an up day, I would have a demand zone here to trade off of. Okay. All right. Does the PMZ indicator print both buy zone and sell zone and have price bubbles or price labels to toggle to clearly see the zone prices? So your PMZ, I say it's a buy zone or a sell zone simply because it is. If price is above it, it's a buy zone. If price is below it, it's a sell zone. Does it print bubbles so that you can always see the values? Well, it prints labels right here. So here's your PMZ high and here's your PMZ low, right, Clee? And that doesn't change the entire day until the next day. So that is always there. That's always there. If the PMZ is printing below the line in the sand, it'll be red. If it's printing above the line in the sand, it will be a cyan color. And the values are on the labels. So if you have the indicator, you know the values and it stays in place for the entire day. Okay. Charlie, should double or triple inside candles give more or less weight to the direction it ultimately goes? Not necessarily. What gives more or less weight is the size of the candle out, in my opinion, to determine the strength of the zone. Bigger the candle out, the more strong, the more conviction I have in the zone. All right. Ravi wants to look at coin. So let's take a look at coin. I have no idea how coin is doing. Not one that I trade, as you can tell by that sloppy, messy looking chart. Again, you're probably looking for about a month because that's how you've answered me in the past. Coin sitting right at a lower yearly edge. It is based off of right here. This is the demand zone. That's just the same demand zone, and that is the same demand zone. You see how it goes back way further than what you might have originally been looking at. All right. But this is the demand zone that has been tested on coin multiple times. Setting at a lower yearly edge, it's if you want to own stock in coin, this would be a place that I would consider buying a dip at. That's long term. All right. From a shorter term perspective, like a monthly chart, you would be trading against a very strong bearish trend. If I'm trading, I will buy dips and trade something that looks red all the way across here, but only long term. Okay. And then I'm typically not even messing with options. I am buying shares, and it has to be a company I believe in. Okay. All that to say, that's the weekly chart, and that is the weekly demand zone. But you also have a weekly supply zone that it looks like price has came up to, tested, and rejected multiple times right here, 198.60. All right, I'm just going to leave that as a line. Because if I want to come up to a fresh zone that hasn't been tested, I would look right here, but then I look left and I look left and I can see that really it's all the way up to here. So on coin, like it or not, for those of you bullish coin, you have a very clear area of supply on this weekly chart right here. But you also have an area of supply down at 198, somewhere around 200, that you got to get through if you're buying a dip down here in this demand zone. All right, so just on the weekly chart, this is what buyer here. This is a trim, that's a trim, and a seller here. So that would be my target. Also, if I want to aggressively short coin, this is the area that I would do it. Or more conservatively, wait until price pops up into here. And then that's where I would look to go short coin. All right, let's look at the daily chart on coin and just see if anything really changes. I know my demand zone is not going to change. Inside and down right here, 194.02. So that is a little bit before that weekly one. Then you have inside, down again here at about 205. So on a daily chart, I would trade it like that. All right. And that's what I see for coin. Awesome, Twins Mom. Glad that we see the 4-hour chart the same way. Jasper Smith, is that the way you trade the 4-hour as well? Is that what you're saying me too about? Can you chart ZS for a leap? You bet. Zscaler, I believe I have that charted. Maybe. Let me see if this is long term. So when you say long term, like for me, that means years. Okay. And that means I am looking at quarterly charts. So if that is not what you're thinking for Zscaler Semi, I apologize. So for a leap trade, I'm going to start with this chart right here. This is your quarterly demand zone right here. This is buy the dip zone on a quarterly chart. Okay. Now, just like that last one that I looked at, it's definitely bearish, right? Oh, I said bearish, and so I went for red. This is demand, not supply. All right, there we are. Now, likewise, inside and down supply on the long term, right, or a leap style trade is up here on Zscaler. All right. Now, these yearly edges that are above price are targets on the way back up. Okay. All right. Now, let me go to a monthly chart just to see if I get anything different. No, really, I don't. I am going to run some fibs on here because let me tell you, if I'm trading this thing and it is in that sort of bearish price action, if you want a little bit quicker trim, that 236, 38.2, you got the lower yearly edge in there. That's a little bit quicker trim than a 50. If we retrace 50% of this down move, that's not a bad trim there. Okay. So that's going to give you some trim levels right there for Zscaler for a leap trade. Okay. But this is a buy the dip, and these are targets to the upside. And you're welcome. What do I think about Reddit? Well, I haven't looked at Reddit in a while, so let me take a look and let me go to. I think Reddit has rallied into a bear channel. That's what I see right off the bat. I don't know. So it's bearish, right? And right now, it has rallied back to the bear channel. So if I was long Reddit here, I would be taking some profits in this bear channel. If you want to wait until the top of the bear channel, that's okay too. Or if you're long term and you want to wait for the yearly edge mid, that's all right as well. Then that next target is going to be the bearish GP and then your supply zone right there. Let's look at it, all of these same levels, but from the daily time frame, which is that's where this supply is coming from, FYI. All right. Yeah. So this line down here was a weekly inside and up. You see it's an inside and up on the daily as well. And yesterday we created a little inside and up there also. So this is a tested zone if you don't already own Reddit. It's a zone if you're looking to buy a dip off of levels. You could trade 144 to 135. You do have the resistance above though. And again, if you're in Reddit already, you're at upper monthly edge, I would definitely be trimming here. Okay. But anywhere in this bear channel, you can expect resistance and sellers to show up. And so if you're looking for a place to short Reddit, you could also do that from this zone, but you're above the daily 21 and you're above the daily cloud. That means the bottom of this zone, somewhere around 155 to 150, would be the first target. Okay. Yep. That's what I think about good old Reddit. Awesome TLC. I see that our NVIDIA buy zones match up. Gotcha, gotcha. Awesome. LQDA for a long stock and call by buying calls. You got it just right. Like LQDA. LQDA. Boy, price has chopped forever now. If anybody thinks we're moving in any kind of direction, you're sadly mistaken. Ever since that big rally candle, nothing. It is eating premium up. That's what's going on right now. Wow. All right. LQDA for long stock. So for me, my friend, that is long term. I'm not buying anything up here at all time highs. I'm not going, yeah. Well, I say all time highs. I have no idea, but let's see. Yes, it is. Okay. So I'm a dip buyer for sure. I'm looking for a pullback into demand. So on this name, it is taken off to the moon. You got a weekly ideal squeeze that fired to the upside. We're 2 bars in. This thing is wow. Yeah. Are you in this just right, like? Because golly jeepers, it's a great one. Here's your buy zone from a weekly. Helen, nice. Way to go, Helen. Love it, Helen. Here's your weekly demand zone, and I hope you got lots of time, Helen, on this trade for this weekly to continue firing if you have enough time on that because that's pretty. All right. What else can we do here? Because just right, like if you're not in this thing, you might be really tempted to buy at highs. And I think that, well, in my experience, I've lost money doing that. So I don't do that. The earliest dip buy for me on this name is going to be here at this bull channel. Okay. The next earliest area that I would look to buy a dip on this name is going to be at this bullish GP. All right. Now, you might say, well, there's no demand. Well, I don't know. Maybe there is on a daily chart. Can't make that up. Okay. You see it? The confluence there? There's your zone to buy. Bullish GP. Here's your inside on the daily and up. See it? Inside, gap up. Came all the way back down to test that. So that's another area you could look to buy a little dippy. All right. Oh man, Dow. I guess the Dow gave up whatever it was trying to do there. Looks like we're selling off just a tad, like as in we're about 7 points off of the high right now. We haven't even pulled back to the bull channel in quite some time. So yeah. So this is what I would be looking for to buy a dip in this name. All right. If you're not already in it, in my opinion, it's not a place that I'd be looking to go long from. I need a pullback. Okay. Google outlook for 2 weeks cold cash. Well, Google was sitting around and doing nothing. Okay, we're getting a little bit of a round and bottom here at this demand zone. Now, this is a tested zone for sure. But yeah, it's rounding itself out there. Lower weekly edge was a good buy. Here's your targets to the upside. So nothing really has changed since the last time I charted this thing out. I'm a buyer down there. I'm trimming here at this inside and down and up at all-time high and Fibonacci extension target for Google. Okay. Are you already in Google Cold Cash? If you're already in it and you're bullish, okay, so you are bullish. If you're already in it and you're bullish, of course, you want to see today hold above the daily 21 and the daily cloud. Okay, that would be the third day in a row price has gotten back up and above the daily 21 since closing below it back on the 22nd of May. All right, but it's not doing a whole lot here. My equity has been wonderful, and I wish it had gotten up to 423 so I could have trimmed, but it didn't. So this is what I'm seeing, but I like the rounding bottom look right here, and it happened at demand. This is a target. Okay. BJ extension fibs. So um, I think mine have different colors, maybe, but my values should be the same. 236, 382, 50, 618, 786, and 100%. Now, that's extension targets. Okay? That's my fib extensions. Now, as far as the Fibonacci retracements, BJ, they could be different because trendy Fibonacci uses the 764 and the 887. This is different than typical Fibonacci right here. Is this the one you're talking about, BJ? Oh my gosh. All right. Yeah, I don't use that 1.1382 and all of that. It's just not how I draw my fibs. If I'm drawing Fibonacci extension targets, it's I didn't change them. I just don't use the ones above 100. So if you look at this, see this, the 618, 2, 618, 4, 2, 3, 6. I just don't use those. That's all. All right. I am way over my time. Leslie, I will chart USAR and Ravi. My open positions you can see in the notes section here in the room under Melissa's trades. Okay. Chart USAR. Got it. USAR. Daily and 4 hour. You got it. Looks like I charted. Did I chart this for you? I don't know who I charted this for. Ooh, ideal squeeze. Hello. Still in a squeeze. Histogram's turning positive. It's getting up above the 50. Next target's going to be a 618, then the 764, and then finally up here, target. Beautiful, gorgeous, love it. Let's look at the 4 hour. And I wonder if that gray buy zone down there was based on a 4 hour. I have no idea. If it wasn't, it lines up with a nice 4 hour inside nut, but right here is where we pulled back today to and created another nice rally candle. So this is also in a 4 hour ideal squeeze and a daily ideal squeeze here. So if this thing fires to the upside, again, my targets would be based on Fibonacci, and I can look over to the left, whoops, on the daily chart and just see what we have as far as supply goes. All right, big top and wick here, no supply. There is no supply on this daily chart. I use if I'm at all-time high, BJ, I use Fibonacci extension tool. That's the only time I use a Fibonacci extension tool. So what's something that's at an all-time high, guys? Oh, well, heck, the ES is basically at all-time high. Okay. So the only time I would use an extension tool is going to be when price is at an all-time high. All right. So if I wanted to get extension targets above the all-time high, I would use this current range where we started moving up, and I would right click down here at the bottom. I would go to the Fibonacci extension. I would left click there. You'd bring this all the way up to the all-time high and you double click. And that gives me extension targets. Okay. All right, guys, I need to hop off here. I need to eat some lunch. I haven't ate yet today, so I'm going to eat me some lunch. I'll be around the charts for the rest of the day. I guess John is gone for the day, but I will be around, and just tag me if you have any questions. All right. Much love to all of you.